Oh my gosh, welcome back, you guys. It's been so long. I almost feel awkward. It's been that long. The last I posted was, I think, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, which is so bad. And I haven't filmed like this, talking to a camera, in like almost a month, which is also bad. I went on a mini vacation, although I don't know if you can call it a vacation. Like, if you're Indian, you'll know. Like, remember when we were kids and we would go to like our nani's ghar for summer vacation? Like, what if you're a grown-ass adult and you still do that? That's where I was. And while I was there, I had this idea for a YouTube video. I had this concept and I also like got all the footage for it, but it was just so cool that I could not bring myself to write the script for it. I've been trying it for 2 weeks and I just cannot do it. You know, it's just every time I sit down, like, I feel like whatever I write is pure shit. Like, I made it up to be this huge perfect thing that I kept pushing off posting because I wanted to post that one video. But also, like, I had other things going on, one of them being a public Instagram account. If you want to follow, please do. It's nothing crazy, but then it's still hard for me to like get it off the ground to even make one, because honestly, like, a public Instagram is like a lot more nerve-wracking than like a YouTube channel, because the odds of someone I know finding out my channel is just so less as compared to like Instagram. I was so scared, like, you know, people from school and university are going to find it and they're going to judge me. But it's actually not been that bad. People have been very supportive, thank God. But still, like, I didn't know that when I was creating it. So I was just sort of preoccupied with that. But while I was doing that, I realized how much I miss YouTube, which is funny because there was a point where I was like, what if I do short form content and then I just never want to do YouTube again? Because I mean, YouTube takes a lot of effort. Just any long form content takes a lot of effort. And when I was doing YouTube consistently, sometimes I would just be so frustrated and tired because there's just so much that goes into it. You have to come up with an idea and then you have to research about it. You have to set up everything in film and to do retakes so many times, and editing. Oh my God. I am not the biggest fan of editing. Like, I would, if I could, I would not do it. You know what I mean? So there were times when I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. When I started doing reels, like when I started creating reels, I was just like, I kind of like long form content a lot more. I mean, short form is like, it's very easy to do. There's like such less efforts that go into it because you just have to do like a 10-second, 20-second thing, and that's like, it's like the shorter the better, right? What I've noticed is that with long form content, I feel like, and this is just like a personal opinion of mine, I don't put a lot of emphasis on external validation with like long form. And that's not like I don't care. Of course I do. Like, sometimes if a video is not doing nicely, I'm like, why did it not get as many views as the last one? That is quite depressing, right? It's like, by the time I'm posting a video, I have done so much of work and I've put in so much of effort that it's almost like I'm satisfied with what I have done. So it's great. Like, if people love it and a lot of people are watching it, then that's like a cherry on top. Versus with like short form content, like it's like instant gratification. You get that sense of productivity, but then I've noticed like I'm a lot more concerned about how many people are watching it and how many people are liking it and stuff like that, because I haven't put in as much effort, right? So I'm looking for that validation from outside a lot more. But anyway, despite all this, despite wanting to get back to YouTube, I just could not find the motivation to do it. Like, I just could not finish that video, and I did not even have any other options ready because I was so married to it. Like, I wasn't even trying to come up with other ideas and, you know, just do drafts and stuff. Like, it's just like, I want to finish that one and I want to put it, but still haven't finished it. Like, I've been doing it for 2 weeks and don't even have like a solid draft ready. So it's pretty bad. But I really wanted to get back into the flow of creating, and I realized like I was putting too much of pressure on myself, and especially because there was such a gap, it was like I come back. Kind of feels like that, right? That pressure was not helping with my creativity. Like, it's just everything was blocked, and that's when I realized like I could do another video. I should do another video which is just more in my comfort zone, which is fairly easier. And that's when it hit me, like I could just talk about what I've been going through for weeks now, and that was a long ass backstory to this video, which is our dear old friend procrastination. So welcome to today's video. So happy that you're here. Also so grateful for the people who are still subscribed to me, because it was silent for a long time. I was expecting a lot of y'all to leave, but you're so sweet, you're so kind, you didn't, and I'm so grateful for that. And so I'm going to take this more seriously and do it more consistently from now on. I swear, I feel like I have that responsibility. So on that note, let's talk about this thing that all of us go through. Okay, maybe not all, but like 90% of the population, I feel like, procrastinates in one way or the other. We lose so much from procrastination, right? Time being one of them. But also, like, if we procrastinate on the more important things like our dreams and just like our big goals and stuff, then we just never get around to doing them until it's too late. In the past, I just thought of it as I'm procrastinating because I'm not interested in it, right? For example, like uni assignments, like, who wants to do them? I wanted to make this video and I went online and I was looking at articles and TED Talks and stuff, and I realized, like, oh my gosh, like I have been procrastinating in more ways than just like not finishing my assignments on time. It took me so long to make a YouTube channel. I was waiting on it for years, and that is procrastination. And that's when I realized, like, it's such a subtle problem, but it takes so much away from us. I want to share some things that I found that have helped me, because here I am after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and that is a small step towards a big change. If you are in the procrastination gang, you've found the right video, you've come to the right place. So what is the wait? We've waited long enough, so let's get into it. So procrastination in psychology is defined as a form of self-regulation failure characterized by irrational delay of tasks despite potentially negative consequences. And that sums it up pretty nicely. It's when we distract ourselves with meaningless tasks. For example, you have to finish your assignment, but you decide to deep clean your room because that gives you a false sense of productivity, but also you're freaking out inside and you feel guilty because you should actually be finishing that assignment right now. Yeah, it's also related to so many health problems like anxiety, insomnia, eating problems, because it creates so much of stress and anxiety in our lives, because you have to get that done, and if you don't, there are like negative consequences to it, but you just cannot bring yourself to do it. It's pretty brutal. And procrastination is associated with laziness. Very interesting thing that I have realized is that procrastination doesn't mean that you're lazy. Laziness is like a physical thing. When your body is tired, it's incapable of getting tasks done, versus procrastination is actually a mental thing. It hasn't got anything to do with our capability and skills. In fact, it has rarely ever got to do with work. The reason we procrastinate is because of stresses in our lives. So there's like 2 reasons why you could be procrastinating. The first one lies outside of your work. If you are going through something in your personal life which is causing you a lot of stress and pain, then it's obvious that you're not going to work, because all of your energy is directed towards that issue and there's barely any left to deal with the tasks at hand, right? So for example, if you're going through a breakup or a fight with your partner, then you obviously will not have time to finish your assignment and study for your exam because you are worried about your relationship. So that is the first reason why you could be procrastinating. The second one has actually got to do with work a little bit, and this is when you have deeper issues related to your self-esteem and self-confidence. For example, if you are a perfectionist, if you're a failure, if you are scared of people's judgment and criticism, all of these deep-rooted issues can express themselves as procrastination, because, for example, if you are a perfectionist, then tackling a task can seem overwhelming because you're scared that you will never do it as good as you want to. And so avoiding it altogether is a way you protect yourself. So these underlying issues can be a reason why it's so difficult for some people to finish tasks, to get started with them. Of course, long-term mental illnesses like depression, chronic anxiety, panic attacks, OCD can cause procrastination too, in which case it's very important to first deal with that core issue, because this is just a symptom of it. These are a few reasons why one might be procrastinating. To overcome it, I think the first thing that we need to remember is there's already a lot of stress going on if you're procrastinating, now that we've established that it's a mental thing. So you don't want to like guilt yourself and shame yourself for not doing work and add more stress to that, because nothing is going to come out of it. Not only are you going to still procrastinate, but you will also feel a great deal of anxiety, which is just not good. And this is why the most important thing to fixing procrastination is to actually reflect on this underlying issue. Reflect on why this work or task seems so overwhelming. Why can't you take that first step? If I take my own situation, I was not able to finish that script because I put this insane pressure of perfectionism. I just wanted it to be like the best thing I've ever done. Because it got so overwhelming, because I was scared that it won't be as good as I wanted to be, I was blocking my own intuition and creativity. So when I actually thought about it, I realized it's not because I'm incapable of writing that script, it's because I am putting a great deal of pressure on myself for it to be perfect. Once you understand why you are avoiding it and what you are trying to protect, then you can find ways to make that task less overwhelming. For example, the same situation, if I am waiting for that inspiration to finish that script, I will be waiting indefinitely. But I do want to get back to YouTube, right? So what I can do is come up with an idea that is in my comfort zone a little bit. It will bring the momentum for me to get back into the flow of creating. And then once I do that, and once I'm in the flow of creating again, I can go back to that script and finish it off, because now it's not a big thing anymore. Another way you can make this task less overwhelming is by breaking it up into little chunks, and maybe starting with a chunk that is more enjoyable, takes a little less effort, it's in your comfort zone, it comes naturally to you. Because the key to beat procrastination is to just start. Literally. And this is the most talked about solution to procrastination. Mel Robbins talks about it, wherein just start working for 5 minutes. Once you do that, a lot of us will continue working because the resistance is only in the first step. Once you start for 5 minutes, you realize it's not so bad, and because you've started it, you might as well finish it. Now, if a task seems so overwhelming that you cannot even bring yourself to just start, what you can do is passive work. I always dread editing until I actually force myself to do it, and sometimes I cannot even force myself, especially if I don't have a deadline coming up. Then I'm just going to push it off indefinitely. In those moments, what I like to do is I just go onto YouTube and I find editing tutorials and I just watch them, because now, yes, I'm not actively working and editing my own videos, but I'm still in that zone. And a lot of times what happens is I'll come across something really interesting and that will inspire me to edit, or I'll just open the software because I want to try something that they're showing. Because I'm putting myself in that zone, it's much easier for me to find that inspiration. The second way to beat procrastination is to say goodbye to perfectionism. Perfectionism is the biggest hurdle to getting anything done, because we want our work to be perfect, as good as it gets, that we just don't do it at all. Instead, if we just focus on finishing the task, we learn so much more along the way. It's okay to make mistakes, to put satisfactory efforts. A lot of times it's more important to finish something than to focus on all the minute details, and you're not going to become perfect by avoiding it altogether. So once we understand that you can never be perfect no matter what, if you're working alone you can't be perfect, and obviously if you're just thinking about it and ruminating on it, you definitely cannot be perfect. So the goal is to get good and better over time, and the only way you can do that is through action. And when you're taking action, you will suck sometimes, you will make mistakes, and your work will probably not be as good, but that is okay. And a great way to move away from this perfectionist mindset is to take away your worth from your work. Your self-worth is not attached to your skills and the work you do. Your work is just a very small part of your identity, and when you understand this, you will feel a lot more secure in yourself, and that will reflect in the work you do. The next thing is to do it when you think about it. And this is especially helpful if you are someone who procrastinate on doing tasks and chores on a daily basis. Instead of writing it on your to-do list and waiting for a later time to do it, if you have like 5 minutes to spare, then just get the task done. If you want to make a call for some appointment, don't wait until later that day to do it. If you can spare those 5 minutes right now, just get done with it. Because if you do it in the moment, you're just going to get over with it instead of thinking about it all day and avoiding it, creating a lot of stress in your mind about it. Now, this is also helpful for creative pursuits as well. If you get a hit of inspiration, if you get an idea, write it down in the moment. And this happens to me all the time. Like if I get an inspiration and if I just write it down in the moment, I'm also able to expand it a lot better because I'm sort of in that flow. And if I put it off, there are times when I just I can't do anything with it, and sometimes I just totally forget it as well. It just slips off my mind. Let the present moment take over so you have much less time to overthink it and get distracted. If you have the time or if you have the thought, just go for it. Finish it off. Also, be flexible. Don't get stuck on that one task you write in your to-do list day after day. There's a reason you're unable to do it, so let it go for the time being. Either find creative ways of doing that task or just focus on other things that will still get you closer to your goal. Inspiration and motivation won't come to you always, and this is especially true for creative pursuits. There's an assumption that these things should come to you naturally and only then can you act on them, but that's just not true. Yes, sometimes like you get this amazing idea, you just get a hit of inspiration, but a lot of other times that's not the case. You still have to get to work, you still have to sit at your desk and write even when you can't produce one sensible sentence. Instead of waiting indefinitely for something to click, just try to do other things meanwhile. Sometimes it's best to not touch the thing that you're procrastinating because maybe you just need some time away from it. If you are a chronic procrastinator and your procrastination goes outside of just work and career related stuff and just getting tasks done, then small habits is the way to go. We're back on the OG small habits development, because if you have routine and set habits, much less possibility of procrastination. For example, if I have the habit of waking up early, then I am going to find it much easier to join a morning workout class. And to do that, I have to start small. Maybe you could start waking up 5 minutes earlier as opposed to like waking 2 hours earlier for 2 days and then going back. A habit needs to be established before it can be expanded upon. James Clear talks about this in Atomic Habits. So if you're putting off things that are good for you, for your health, your relationships, for your own personal development, then try to make small habits surrounding that change. So you have to build strong values with strong habits too. You have to practice being disciplined, focusing on long-term rewards instead of instant gratification, asking yourself big questions like, would I want to be the same person, remain at the same place 1 year from now as I am today? Looking at the bigger picture will help you see the consequences of your actions over a longer period of time as opposed to a day or a week, because when we are procrastinating, we are in the present moment, we are distracted, we want these instant pleasures. But when we take a step back and we look at our whole life, then it will give us a much clearer perspective. When you are putting off your dreams and your passion projects, when you've just fallen into this trap that you've got a lot of time and that you'll get to it someday when you're ready, when everything is aligned and all of that stuff, think about how would your future self want you to show up today in order for them to live their best life. The actions you are taking today will create the life for your future self. So if you want that version of you to be happy, for them to be successful, then you have to put in the work today, right? And life is really short, and having this perspective, especially for procrastination, will create the sense of urgency, will make us realize how much time we are wasting because we are so scared that people are going to judge us or that our work is not going to be good enough, that we aren't even trying anything. And as long as we don't try, we'll never find out. Most of the times we're just going to prove ourselves wrong. All these negative beliefs we hold about ourselves are false anyway, and when we try, we prove to ourselves that we are a lot better than the credit we give to ourselves. And this is a mindset shift you have to practice every day. It doesn't happen overnight like in movies. Like, you don't wake up and you're like, I've had enough of the shit, I'm going to go after my wildest dreams. You have to make all these small changes in your habits, in your lifestyle, in the way you think, the actions you take. And I'm not saying that you have to be working all the time. I'm very against that. Like, it's okay to put off tasks sometimes. It's okay to like not want to do anything on some days. That's totally normal. You could be tired, you could be exhausted, or maybe you just need a rest day, you know, that's as valid. You could be having a creative block, or you could just be dealing with a lot of stuff outside of your work and your career that needs your attention. But if this procrastination extends for a long period of time, it's essential that you understand why that is and put in efforts to change that. We lose so much of time in being scared, and I know, of course, it's not so easy to just be like, don't be scared, like just go out, just do it. It's not. I completely understand that, okay? But I mean, you're always going to feel that way, right? If you think about it, there's really nothing that can change it except for yourself. So you might as well like take small steps to build better habits, better beliefs about yourself. So many people don't go after their dreams because they think they don't deserve it, or so few people get to experience that for whatever reasons. But once you look at people who are living their dreams, you understand that the only reason they're able to do that is because they have taken charge of their life, and the people who are not living their dreams is because they're not taking charge of their own lives. But everything is in our own hands. We are capable of creating our own destiny. We are capable of literally changing anything about us that is not serving us. So I hope this video helped you. If you have been procrastinating in some ways, it always starts small, literally all that we've talked about. Don't shame yourself, don't beat yourself up because you're procrastinating. Just understand why you are and find ways to move out of that cycle. And I hope this video has helped you for doing that. It's honestly so good to be back. Really love sharing the things that I learn. It brings me so much of joy because I really appreciate the people who also like share their own learnings, because I know how much it helps me out. I think it's honestly such a privilege for me to be able to do that as well. So thank you so much, you guys, for listening, because I mean, I could talk all I want, but if there's nobody to listen, then what's the point, really? So thank you for being here today. I hope you have a really wonderful day, and I hope you take charge of your life, even if it's in the smallest of ways. It always pays off. That will be it for today. I will see you again really soon. Bye.